the only thing I could, when you were talking about it, I was trying to think like, what is it that can get people to cross that line to try and move or to break the chain of habit, right, of that behavior. And the only thing I can sort of relate to is I know for me personally, there are certain things that keep me going, that keep me motivated, that keep me in a good mental health space. And that's like having a good diet and working out regularly and blah, 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 and all those things. But I know that as soon as I stop doing one of those things, then everything else unfolds, and it's kind of like a downward spiral, right? So the less that you exercise, the less you eat well, the less you sleep well, the less your mental health, blah, 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 downward spiral. But conversely, it goes the other way as well. So if I can snap myself out of that, because as well with COVID, I'm working from home, I'm living by myself for the first time in 37 years. There's definitely been times where I'm just like, what? This is so depressing. But if you can flip that, so like make sure you go and do your exercise, make sure you go and eat well, whatever, it's an upward spiral too. So the more that you go into it, the more it expands and builds on itself. So like you said, you just had one point where you're like, I'm just going to try this for a bit. But within a week, so many things cumulatively had spiraled up in the same way that things can spiral down. So even though you might not be able to jump to the top of that spiral immediately, if you can change that one little thing, you'll start to see how that will add into better, better habits, better mental health, blah, blah, blah. So it works both ways, I suppose, is the only reassuring thing you can try and say to people. Like, it might be hard to take that first step into changing those habits, but that those can amplify so quickly, like you just explained so perfectly there.
Definitely. And I think that's another thing that meaning does, is having meaning. It's like when you're doing something, and especially when it's good for others as well, it's like, okay, well, sure, I can eat well and exercise so that I feel good for me. But it's kind of like when you're taking care of others or doing something that benefits other people, it's like, no, actually, I have to feel good. Otherwise, everybody suffers from this. Because I'm not very good at taking care of myself. For me, it's kind of like, well, why bother? I'm just going to lie in bed and watch Netflix or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's only me. But when I've got extended responsibility, it's like, no, actually, I have to feel good. I can't not feel good. Else it's just too much. So like having meaning and purpose in your life drives you to make sure that you keep doing those things, especially on them days where you just can't be bothered, because, we all go through that, don't we?
Yeah.